If you're here to learn a little bit about developer secrets, you're in the right place. My name is Casey Babcock, and I am your Bitwarden representative as of today. And we're going to be talking about securing your developer secrets, specifically with the Bitwarden Secrets Manager. Cool. So we have a packed agenda today. We're going to start it off with just a quick introduction to the Bitwarden Secrets Manager, which is currently in open beta, and then diving right into a Secrets Manager demo so we can kind of see everything, all the high-level capabilities that we just learned in the introduction, actually in practice. And my good colleague, Max Power, will be walking us through that. Next, we're going to jump on into a little bit more about end-to-end encryption and why it's so important for secrets management. I was personally shocked when I learned that a lot of other secrets management providers don't end-to-end encrypt their data, so definitely something you want to stick around for. And then lastly, we're going to be opening it up to a open Q&A with the Bitwarden product team. That being said, feel free to put questions in the chat or in the questions pane at the bottom of your screen throughout this session. I'll be trying to answer some questions, and then I know I have a couple colleagues on the line who can answer some questions as well. So all of that, let's just jump right in. Introducing Bitwarden Secrets Manager, which is now in open beta. And if you were on the call a little bit earlier, you might have already answered the poll which was running, which asks the question if you have already tested Secrets Manager beta. So 2 answers, yes or no. Okay, a couple people have, but it looks like the majority, about 84%, said no, which completely makes sense, and I hope that this session will give you a little bit more information about Secrets Manager, and will help you get started so you can test it out yourself. Cool, yeah, well, feel free to continue answering that as the session goes on. It might be kind of interesting to check it out at the end. Cool. Well, let's see, there's 4 people who have tested it out already. If you feel comfortable, maybe just put in the chat what your experiences are. If you have any thoughts, feedback, we'd love to hear it. Cool. I don't think I'm going to wait for that. So if you're one of those 4 people, please put that in the chat. Cool. So let's jump into a little bit more about secrets management, right? So I'm throwing around that term a lot. And really, I think we should back up a little bit and talk about broader industry trends, right? Because modern development teams today really do face serious security challenges. And that is due mostly to the variety of different applications and multi-cloud infrastructures that they use for their work, which can contribute to this concept called secret sprawl, right? So that's where secrets can become easily distributed across company environments. And what this does is it makes it really difficult to manage permissions to privileged environments that those secrets protect, and then also track access to those privileged environment. So you have just less control over where your secrets live and who has access to them. So without a secure location for secret storage and management, what happens is that sometimes developers or development teams may resort to other methods of secrets management simply out of convenience. You know, we are all have heard the term work smarter, not harder, and I think this is kind of very much related. So these development teams might resort to hard coding, which you can kind of see illustrated on the left-hand side, or reusing secrets out of convenience, maybe sharing them through unsecure channels, right? So sharing an ENB file over Slack, that would be a very insecure way of sharing secrets. And so if your development team is sharing secrets in such insecure ways, or reusing them, or hard coding them into your source code, that's going to lead to data breaches and unauthorized access, right? So I have a couple data points to look at here. First is a data point from GitGuardian that 5 million, that's 5 million credentials and other secrets get leaked on GitHub every year. And then 18% of all projects hosted on GitLab were vulnerable to leaked secrets. So this is definitely a very topical issue that I think a lot of people or a lot of businesses experience. So the saving grace for all of this is that there is a solution called a secrets manager. And that's essentially a method of storing these developer secrets in a very secure location, so preventing that secret sprawl. And it supports the automatic retrieval of secrets to use in developer code or environment, so like that machine access to secrets. Unfortunately, there are a lot of secrets managers on the market today that are difficult to set up, right? They have a really steep learning curve. They're expensive, so they're not affordable for small to medium-sized businesses. They might be tied to one cloud provider. So off the top of my head, like AWS, maybe Azure, right? It's tied to one cloud provider for your secrets. And they have weaker encryption models. So definitely a big concern if you're looking to store your secrets securely. So this is where I want to jump into Bitwarden Secrets Manager, which is currently in open beta, and it's a secure solution for storing, managing, automating, and sharing secrets at scale across the development lifecycle. So kind of going back to some of those pain points I identified earlier, it minimizes that insecure sharing and hard coding of secrets that developers were doing out of convenience. It prevents unauthorized access to privileged systems with a really granular access management. It enables developers to be more productive, right? So because it's such a simple, lightweight solution, developers don't have to have such a steep learning curve in learning it, and it allows them to inject secrets into their development workflows a lot more easily. And lastly, for leadership, it allows them to monitor and manage access to sensitive information and systems, which helps decrease that possibility of a data breach. Oh, cool. We've got a couple questions. I felt like I was talking for a little bit too long. What is the pricing like for Secrets Manager going to be like? Yeah, so we have not released that yet, but so that should be released sometime this summer. But I can assure you, everyone who has started the beta program, we're going to be notifying you very much ahead of time what that pricing is going to be like, so that way you don't get kind of surprised whenever that comes out. But I can tell you that it's going to be really straightforward, very streamlined, and predictable. So I think a lot of other secrets management solutions on the market don't have very predictable pricing, and that is a huge pain point for consumers. So hopefully that answered your question. I don't have the pricing available as of right now. Okay, will Secrets Manager integrate with GitHub credential scanning? Not at this current moment, but our product and development team is prioritizing developing more integrations for Secrets Manager as it enters general availability. So that can absolutely be added to that list. And if that's a big concern for you, I suggest maybe adding that to a feature request through our help center. Cool. Will it be self-host? It will be. Not currently, but it will be. It's definitely on our roadmap. Cool. Well, thank you for those questions. Super helpful. Okay. Well, since we answered those questions, I'm going to be inviting my good colleague, Max Power, up on screen to be doing a demo of Secrets Manager. Let me just find you, Max, and invite you up. Cool, Max. I'm assuming you are just Max. Okay, we're going to give him a little second to get started. I should have done this earlier, but that's okay. Cool. Thank you, everyone, for also submitting questions. This makes this session a lot more interactive. I mean, I can talk for, hours on this topic, but I like being able to answer questions that are a little bit more direct towards you. Cool. Okay, Max, welcome to the screen.
Thanks a lot, Casey. Hello, everyone. I'm Max. I'm the product lead for Secrets Manager. I will start by giving a short intro into the UI. So when you log into Secrets Manager, the first thing you're going to see, if you already have some projects and secrets created, is just your dashboard with like your last edited or last used project and secrets. As you can see here, I've only set up like one project and one secret. If we navigate to the projects tab, you see all of the projects, and you can dig into those projects and see all secrets within a project. It kind of works very similar to how collections work in Password Manager for those of you that are Password Manager users. For every project, we can assign people and we can assign service accounts, and I'm going to explain what service accounts are in a second. The Secrets tab just lists all secrets in your organization or all secrets that you have access to. Now the service accounts. In Secrets Manager, we are differentiating between human users and non-human users, machine users. The machine users are basically servers, pipelines, anything that programmatically needs access to your Secrets Manager. You can create a service account, assign service account to a project. You can add people who can manage that service account. So who can those people are able to create access tokens for a service account, and then you can create the access token. You can give it a name. Currently, we only have can read permission. We are working on enabling can write permission as well, which should come out relatively soon. So you will be able to create secrets and delete secrets as well programmatically. Right now, you can only retrieve secrets in projects. And you can set an expiration date for the access token. So it could be like a standard one or a custom one, doesn't really matter, depending on your preferences. And then we display the access token. And the access token is not, well, technically it's stored, but you can only see it once. So make sure to copy that access token to use it later in your workflow. Bin, normal, yeah, you see deleted secrets. They get deleted after 30 days. And we have currently only two settings which enable you to import existing secrets and export all of your vault data. Now, let's take a look at how Secrets Manager looks in action. And to do that, we will first switch to the CLI if I figure out how to change the sharing, which I don't. Sorry for that. I should have tried that before. Here. So first thing we're going to take a quick look at is the CLI. Secrets Manager comes with its own CLI. It enables you to list secrets and projects. So we can just take a look at the help output. Basically, we have a bunch of different options. You can list all projects, all secrets, or you can get specific single items. So you can get a specific secret. And you can configure a CLI with various different options. You can also set them as flags. So with different options to customize your CLI, such as defining the output as JSON, YAML, the color, defining the access token, server URL, which is more or less a little bit of a preparation for self-hosted during beta. Secrets Manager is only available for like in the cloud version, but we are working hard on releasing the self-hosted version soon as well. Let's take a look at how that looks. If we just list secrets, now we see we get the JSON output with the secret key and value. And we can do the same for projects. Now, going into more of a workflow, One of the integrations that we have live already is our GitHub Actions integration. So I've put together like a very, very simple sample project. Basically, there's nothing in it besides the small JS file. This is how the GitHub Action integration works. If we look into the YAML file for the GitHub Action, basically what we're doing is we're using the access token to retrieve a secret by secret ID. The secret ID you can either get from the Secrets Manager UI or from the CLI if you list secrets. So every secret has a unique ID. Every project has a unique ID as well. And then in GitHub, you need to configure your access token. So the way you're doing that is you go to settings, you go to secrets and variables, actions, and then I already configured it for this repo. You just add a new repository secret, you name it, and you paste the access token that you copied previously from the service accounts. Once that is done, we can go to actions. This action is triggered by a push, so I'm just gonna do a quick push. Okay, I have some weird Git error. Great, that's the demo effect. Always something going wrong. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to fix that now. In theory, what I wanted to show you now is pushing to here triggers the GitHub action. GitHub then uses the access token, retrieves the secrets, and you can deploy pretty much anything. We're also working on a bunch of additional integrations. So GitHub is just one example. We are now prioritizing integrations with Kubernetes, Terraform, and Ansible. And we're always welcoming contributions. Our SDK and CLI are fully open source. So if anyone wants to contribute other integrations, we are more than welcome to. And that's it for my quick demo. Handing back to Casey.
Okay, beautiful. We seem to be back on track. Apologies for that weird delay. Looks like we also have, thank you. Yes, I am back. Cool. Looks like we also had a couple questions come in. The first asking about programming languages. Yes, so we have an SDK that is currently available for the Secrets Manager beta. I believe as of right now that includes Rust, but we're going to be, yeah, I thought we were using MS Teams for a second. Currently that includes Rust, but we're going to be adding to that as time goes on. Cool. Next, ensemble, that's not how I pronounce it. That's one of those words that I always pronounce in my head and haven't actually said out loud. Will it support those automations? Like I said, our team is currently prioritizing integrations, and so that will be coming. More and more integrations will be coming. But thank you, Max, for demoing that GitHub Actions integration. That was really informative. GitLab integration, as of not right now. So all the questions about integrations right now, we are currently supporting GitHub Actions, but our team is prioritizing adding more integrations to that. Cool. Okay, looks like someone else is looking for that specific integration. That's awesome. How does one configure which service accounts have access to which systems? So what Max demoed, right, was that you're able to create specific service account which has access to specific secrets, and then that generates an access token which can be injected into the code or CLI, the words are not coming to me today, that can be injected into your workflows. So that's how you facilitate access is, the service account has access to specific secrets within Bitwarden, and then using that API token that is generated with a service account, that is how you create access to specific machines. Cool. Will there be a REST API? So like I just said, so the next question is, will there be a REST API for accessing secrets using an access token, of course? Yes, so that's what I just mentioned, is that you'll be using a access token, which is an API to access secrets and basically facilitate that machine access. Cool, I think that is all of the questions. So I'm going to begin sharing my screen again. Thank you again, Max, for that demo. I only was able to watch part of it considering my internet issues, but the first half was really informative, and I hope everyone else got some information out of that as well. So next up on the agenda, I'd love to talk to everyone on the call about end-to-end encryption and why it is so important for secrets management. So I'm assuming that everyone on this call is fairly tech savvy, right, have some technical background, but I would love to level set for a second to make sure that we're all on the same page about what end-to-end encryption actually means, right? So it's a specific cryptographic method where sensitive information is encrypted locally before it's transmitted and decrypted on a specific target device. So the concept for this is that it prevents third parties from accessing a string of data while it's being transmitted between that local and target device. So some fun facts and some stuff about end-to-end encryption in the news. Fun fact about end-to-end encryption is that it's used by a lot of reputable parties to secure the world's most sensitive data, including the US government. And end-to-end encryption was recently in the news when Google came under fire by security researchers and consumers alike for not having end-to-end encryption capabilities with the Google Authenticator. So this was last month that this all kind of came to light, and since then Google has added it to their roadmap for the Google Authenticator. So kind of just showing how important that is for security researchers and consumers to offer end-to-end encryption when securing really sensitive information. Cool. So let's jump into other types of encryption, right? So first is encryption in transit. So we just kind of talked about end-to-end encryption, and now we're going to be looking at a different type of encryption, which is encryption in transit. So that's where data is encrypted only whenever that data is active, right? So whenever it's moving between devices, networks, or infrastructures. So in this visual below, you can see that a sender has unencrypted data, whether that is in their brain or on a piece of paper or something, and they input that into a device where it is then encrypted before moving to a server, right? And so that whole process, it is encrypted. But once it reaches that server, it becomes unencrypted. So that's encryption in transit. Now, a lot of providers might use encryption at rest and in transit, right? So that's encryption at rest is where the data is not actively being used, right? So it's where it's stored somewhere. So maybe on a hard drive, flash drive, cloud storage, you name it. And so you can see in this visual, again, we're using encryption in transit from the device to the server. That data is encrypted. But once it reaches the server, it becomes unencrypted and moved to storage where it is then encrypted again, right? So in this visual, you can see there's some light blue, right, which represents unencrypted data. And that can be a potential access point for malicious actors. Now, let's jump into why end-to-end encryption is simply just more secure. Right, so the server, the device, the network, the storage has never has access to decrypted data with end-to-end encryption. So you can see in the diagram, the sender has that unencrypted data. It is inputted into a device where it is encrypted, and then it moves from the device to the server to a new device, completely encrypted the entire time. We could have also probably included another storage container in this diagram as well. So maybe at one point it is put into storage before it is re-accessed. But it is way more secure because there's no points where that chain of encrypted data is broken. So, as you might have guessed, Bitwarden does use end-to-end encryption for secrets management. So by securing your developer secrets with end-to-end encryption, you can better protect developer secrets from unauthorized access and decreases that possibility of a data breach. Now, not to say that other types of encryption is bad or unsecure, but end-to-end encryption is kind of a holy grail of encryption. And unfortunately, a lot of other secrets management solutions only secure their data with that encryption in transit and encryption at rest. So, clearly, strong encryption is really crucial for secrets management. And kind of going back to some of that information I shared at the beginning of this webinar, developers work with a lot of applications and ecosystems that contain sensitive data, and if that were to be exposed to the public, that could be abused and leveraged against a specific organization, right? And so strong encryption is really crucial here to protect your business from that. I also just pulled some recent data breaches that could have been prevented by end-to-end encryption with their secrets management. So first, Byance, right? So they had plain text credentials and a code snippet that was published publicly, and that resulted in 1 billion customer information leaked. A very serious leak. Also, Twitter, they had an API vulnerability that could have been protected by end-to-end encrypted secrets, and that resulted in 5.4 million customer account information leaked. And then lastly, one of the very infamous Uber breaches of 2017, where they published infrastructure keys in a public code. So very similar to Byance's data breach, and that resulted in 57 million customer accounts leaked. So this is a very serious topic, right? This can lead to, both customers and businesses having, their information leaked online. So end-to-end encryption is a really great way to prevent that. So if you are interested in more about Bitwarden's encryption model, you can find that at bitwarden.com/help/what encryption is used. We are also, happy to answer questions in this format if anyone has any questions about that. But this is a really great resource for a deep dive into our encryption model. Cool. Looks like we got a couple questions that came in as well. Is there any plans for a Terraform integration? Yep, Max is right. That's very high on our list of priorities. So thank you for asking. Is user management through user groups possible to define who gets access to what secrets? And Max said that you can add groups on a project level, and we're currently working on secrets level permissions at the moment. So like I said, we are currently in open beta, but we're really looking to have that general availability available this summer. Cool. And the last question is, Secrets Manager only accessible with Service Account API token, or can we use SSO? Max responded, currently there's only service account logins using access tokens. Notwithstanding, we will add the same login functionality as the password manager CLI, so you can log in as a human user and a service account machine user. Thank you, GCF, for that question. Okay, and lastly, do you have any technical docs, a white paper on how Secrets Manager archives achieves end-to-end encryption? I ask because to me it's not obvious how this could work given a secret being saved and thus encrypted, and labor service account and API token being added. Yeah, so that specific link that I shared, bitwarden.com/help/what encryption is being used, is a really great resource for that. We also have a security white paper on our help center, which should be pretty easy to access. So thank you for asking. That should be a really good resource. Okay, cool. Keep the questions coming. This is awesome. And with that, I'm gonna, invite some of our product team members back up on screen. So we're gonna see Max again, and then also my colleague Gina to answer some questions that people might be having. So during this time, you are completely welcome to ask a question in that questions pane. You can put it in the chat, or you can also just put in the chat that you have a question that you'd like to ask live, and I'll make sure to promote you to the screen so you can ask our product team that question live. I think this is a really important opportunity to be able to get information directly from our product team. Cool. Yeah, thank you for coming back on, Max. And it looks like Gina is currently connecting, so she should be on in a second.
Great. In the meantime, I quickly show you I fixed my Git issue. This is what I wanted to show earlier with the GitHub Actions integration. So basically, you see the run here, and you see how GitHub Actions is getting the secret from Bitwarden Secrets Manager and completed setting secrets as environment variables. Yeah, just to finalize my previous demo.
Yeah, thank you, Max. Was there any questions about that? I know you ran that through pretty quickly. Well, yeah, don't be shy. I saw so many questions come in earlier.
The first, Dominic, secret level permissions is something we find missing in the enterprise. Would be great to get it. We are aware of that. We're working on it, and it's a super high priority for us. So, yeah, coming very soon.
Cool. We got another question, Max, saying, this is from Mike. I know this is being worked on. Do you possibly have any idea when tags might be ready for testing or deployment?
Tags are not our number one priority. So we're looking, before we implement tags, we're looking at other features such as being able to set like multiple environments. You always have the nodes field, which you can more or less use as tagging as well. So it's probably still going to take a bit of time unless there is like a huge demand for tags.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. And then our next question, any extra words about automatic rules for rotating secrets on a regular basis? Can it be done on a per secret basis too?
Per secret basis. Well, in theory, as soon as we have the can write permission for service accounts, you're able to change individual secrets and rotate secrets as much as you want on a per secret basis as well.
Cool. And this next question, I can actually answer this. Is Bitwarden Secrets Manager open source like Bitwarden Password Manager? Absolutely. That's a really core foundation of Bitwarden, is having our products open source. So yes, Secrets Manager is also open source. Let's see. Do you want to maybe take, Max, that long question from Eric in the chat?
There is definitely an issue with that. So we discussed that a lot, but it does make it relatively easy to make mistakes. One thing that we're adding very soon is displaying the secret IDs and project IDs in the UI. So once you log into Secrets Manager, you can just copy those, and that's quite a bit easier. With that, and feel free to just added into the chat, would that more or less solve your issue, or do you still see a need for like having clear name IDs in the CLI? I'm gonna answer some other questions in the meantime. Would the secret level permission be released for cloud and self-hosted at the same time? Around the same time, so definitely same quarter. It will be Q3, the secret level permissions, but it may not be the same release, like exactly the same release. Regarding the typo in a UID. Well, it's not really about, I mean, the UID, at least from what I would imagine, you basically just copy and paste it, right? So it's a lot less likely that you're making an error there. Like typing it would be quite tedious. The issue with like clearly readable identifiers is more that it would be relatively easy to confuse them, because you might have like I don't know, multiple secrets that are named DB something, right? Like they could have exactly the same name, and then it's super complicated to differentiate them. So it's rather important to have like a unique identifier per secret. Yeah. Can we display the dashboard again on screen for sure?
Yeah, I can stop sharing the slide deck. I don't think it's very valuable at this point if it just says questions and answers.
Okay, just like we use API key names for env it might be nice to use. Eric, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I fully understand your request. One thing just to note in general, I'm going to drop my email in here. Please don't cannibalize it, but feel free to reach out to me. And if you have specific requests, you can just drop me a message, and I'll get back to you by email as well for those things where I'm uncertain what is meant right now. It's very interesting to see the request for tags. So I think that's definitely something I'm going to reconsider and pay closer attention to. Will there be a comment field to add nodes to a secret? Also, URL field would make sense. We have a comment field already. So if we have this nodes field here where you can pretty much enter anything, and it can be pretty long as well. For URLs, that would probably make sense. Something we haven't considered yet, but I'll add on my list to review.
Eric, if you would like to join on screen and ask your question live, you are absolutely welcome to. Just let us know, and I'll invite you up on screen if you'd like to clarify that question. Max, there's another question about addressing lookup performance on secret searches. Myro says that I know that in Bitwarden Password Manager, I often wait upwards of 30 seconds for item lookups when subscribed to multiple organizations.
Generally speaking, the performance of Secrets Manager is a lot better. I don't know if you're referring to the Password Manager front end or the CLI. If you're referring to the CLI, the Secrets Manager CLI is completely rewritten. It has nothing to do with the existing CLI. It's written in Rust, and it's pretty performative. So 30 seconds seems like a very long time to me. I would not expect such long waiting time.
I'll just add too that we are for Password Manager in the progress of making some performance enhancements. So it would be helpful to understand from your view how many items are you searching across as we address that. So thank you for that feedback and input.
There is a feature request that also just popped up in the chat about displaying the notes field. We should make the URLs clickable. That way there's probably no need for a separate URL field.
I'll add that to my notes. Thanks. Cut and paste 5 secrets. It might be possible to confuse the paste. Yeah, definitely. You're right. The question is, like in your actual workflows, how often does that happen? I mean, typically you would configure you would set your config files, and then you have just like your pipelines running for a long time with the same secret IDs, and you're just rotating the secrets, but the secret ID remains the same. It is something that is a bit tricky. We have thought a lot about how we can improve the performance. We had lots of different ideas in terms of like how can we make it easy for people to separate secrets. We will spend more time looking into this. There are some ideas where we could use more like the entire path of a secret. So you basically in the same way, like you type PWD, you would see, okay, it's in this project, it's the secret, which would make it easier to differentiate things. But then we have additional complications later when we're switching to multiple environments. So what we want to support is that you have like your testing, like you basically can set flags for all of your different environments, and there the secret names would be the same and the project names would be the same. So there's a lot to consider there, but fair point. We will spend more time into looking how we can make it easier to differentiate secrets. I definitely agree that the UUIDs are a bit complicated and not so easy to like differentiate or memorize. Impossible to memorize.
The next question, I'm not quite sure if we discussed this one already, considering that we've already talked about the notes field a decent amount, but is the notes field searchable?
Very good question. I think currently it is not yet searchable, but it will be searchable. I'm not 100% certain on that. I can check quickly. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it's gotten 4 upvotes, so definitely a
Yeah.
hot topic.
No, it's definitely going to be searchable in the near future. Otherwise, there's not much value in the notes field.
Yeah, I also, while everyone else is typing whatever questions they have, I do want to point out the results of our poll. So we still have 4 votes for people who have tested out Secrets Manager Beta already, and then 33 votes for those who have not. So I believe Gina posted, or someone posted in the chat. Yep, Gina did. Around how to get started with Secrets Manager Beta. She posted a link to the Help Center Quick Start guide. So that's a really great place to get started with testing it out if anything in this webinar was interesting to you. Yeah, so thank you everyone for voting on that poll. Okay, looks like there's another question that came in through the questions pane. Imagine an app that is installed on a dev, QA, or a production server. Once you support environments, what that would mean that each server I put a unique API key, but one and the same secret ID, right? So in each server. Sorry, what?
Exactly. No, the
Okay.
question is 100% correct. Basically, you just set different tokens for your environments. The secret ID set stays the same. You probably have to set the right flag for what secret you want to get, like for which environment, and that's pretty much it. So it's super easy for you to switch between different environments.
Great, cool. Thank you for that. And looks like, Gina, you were tagged in a question in the chat.
Yeah, I think Mira was just asking about some request for being able to list all org IDs when exporting across multiple organizations. So definitely we'll look at expanding kind of our export functionality in the Password Manager product.
How to import secrets from an existing solution. Or even some other cloud secret management service. So one unfortunate thing is that in contrast to the password manager space, for most cloud providers or other secret managers, they're not like super simple export options. In the password manager, we have these super convenient importing options where you can just select from which password manager you want to import. For the cloud providers, there is not really, like most of them don't have like a export option. You can just basically write a small script and retrieve every secret. We currently have the functionality to import data as JSON, and we're right now working on enabling you to import env files on a project level. So if you're if you have the env file, let's say you have like one project, one repo, one env file, you can just drag and drop that into Secrets Manager and get started like that. Are there logs of what service account accessed which secret? Yes. So we already have right now we're utilizing the password manager admin console for event logs. So if you are on a Teams or Enterprise plan, you're able to see all event logs and what service account accessed what, or also which user accessed which secret. So pretty much everything is logged. We are planning to move the service account event log specifically also on the service account page. Like this is like a down the line item, like it is on our to-do list. It's not like a super high priority, but we will most likely have like some additional tab here or some other way of displaying the event log, so you can just within the service account see what that service account is doing, which may also be useful for debugging and so on. Can we retain rotated past secrets forever? Similar as in Password Manager, we are definitely intending to store the rotated secrets forever. I think is a bit undefined on our end for now. Forever is a long time, but yeah, you will be able to retrieve rotated secrets for sure.
Cool. That looks like that was all the questions from the questions pane. I know we're nearing the end of the session, but it's not too late to ask any burning questions that you might have. Cool. We got another question.
Do you also log which human accessed which secret, especially but not only write access? Yes. So every interaction basically is logged. Currently, like you can see the event logs in the existing admin console. We will also like further down the line consider integrations with things like Datadog or SIEM tools, so you can get like or like a Slack integration, so you can get automatic alerts and these sort of things. Is there going to be a unified Docker container for Secrets Manager similar to Bitwarden PM? Yes, most likely. So it is one code base, and most likely it's going to be a unified Docker container. Actually, most likely it's going to be the same for Password Manager and Secrets Manager, so you can deploy both with like one Docker Compose file.
Cool. I'm just giving it a second. Just in case anyone is halfway through a question. Cool. Okay, well, if there's no other questions from the audience, this was awesome. I feel like I learned a lot. Oh, great, cool. We have another one. Will there be documentation about the integration?
Definitely. So from a documentation perspective, one of the things we're working out right now is like more practical use cases for various different frameworks, and also yeah. So we're like the first ones like that we're prioritizing now are Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, and there will be lots of other use cases and documentation we're working on writing out now.
Thanks, Em. We appreciate it. Yeah, JFC, thank you for that pronunciation. JCF, thank you for that pronunciation. Like I said, I think that's one of those words that I've always just read in my head and never had to say out loud. So I'm learning a lot. Cool. Looks like there's one more question. REST pull secrets.
Not on the immediate roadmap. You can use the SDK and the CLI, but definitely not that we will never do it. Can I pull secrets using curl or something more basic? Yeah, you will be able to. when you're on a bare EC2 instance. Nice use case. I will, if you don't mind, drop me a mail. I'm just gonna drop the email here again. I would love to get a better understanding of your use case and get a good answer for you. But that makes a lot of sense. I can resend
Yeah,
the email.
Troy. The recording will be viewable later. It will be available on bitwarden.com/events as a recorded event, and then also maybe on our YouTube channel. I think that will also be available there. So absolutely, you can watch the entire session from start to finish on those channels.
Davor, that's something we're looking into. So we've gotten quite a few requests about like some sort of federated setup, particularly from like the IoT OT spaces, like in factories and so on. We are looking into that use case. It's not our ultimate priority, but it is definitely something that is very interesting for us, and we are exploring.
I know Max has shared his email a couple of times, so if you have anything else, please contact him. He is a really great resource, as I'm sure that you've seen today. So I'm going to play us out with some music. Hopefully you are okay with listening to a little bit more of my music taste. Cool.